Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework that is pretty much going to completely shift how you think about the future of work. This explainer is based on a Management Pro contribution by Willem Scheepers. And his core argument? Well, it's that the real AI gap in the labor market right now isn't actually about the technology itself. No, it's about human capital. We're moving way beyond just handing out AI logins. We're entering this absolutely critical phase where organizations have to actively protect and grow their professionals' future capabilities. Right out of the gate, Scheepers sets the stage with this one simple yet brilliant question: what capability do employees build while we automate? Think about that for a second. It totally takes AI out of the realm of just being an IT strategy and elevates it to a vital human strategy. If a company is only asking, hey, what tasks can we hand over to ChatGPT, they are missing the bigger, frankly, much more existential picture. So to really grasp this, we're going to walk through this structured framework step by step. We'll start with the new AI gap, look into the hidden risk of human hollowing, explore the capability-secure organization, check out some real-world pioneers, and finally, wrap it all up with a concrete action plan. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the new AI gap. What is actually happening out there right now? To ground this in some actual data, take a look at these recent CBS statistics on AI usage in the Netherlands for 2025. You can see a massive disparity based on company size. Large enterprises, they're adopting AI incredibly fast, hitting over 66%. But then look at the micro businesses, way down there at just 13.8%. And what's really telling here is that over 70% of those smaller firms say a lack of experience is the main reason they're holding back. So the gap isn't just about who can afford the software, it's about who actually has the environment and the experience to use it well. Which brings us to section 2, the risk of human hollowing. This is where things get a little dangerous. Scheepers makes this really stark contrast between two types of companies. First, you have the AI-ready organization. Now, they just organize access to the models and the tools. And sure, that's necessary, but it's totally insufficient on its own. On the flip side, you have a capabilities-secure organization. They actively organize access, data, practice space, and career paths in a way that strictly protects future skills. They make sure their professionals stay relevant and employable for the long haul. Because if you only focus on being AI-ready, you run headfirst into what Scheepers calls human hollowing. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a scenario where, sure, employees technically stay on the payroll and are kept in the loop, but because the machine is taking over so much of the routine work, those human workers lose the essential practice they need. They lose the chance to formulate problems, make mistakes, and build their professional judgment. They literally get hollowed out from the inside. So, how do we stop our workforce from becoming hollowed out shells? Let's move to section 3, the capability-secure organization. According to the framework, an organization has to meet 5 structural conditions to make sure AI actually strengthens humans rather than eroding them. First up, equal intelligence conditions. That means safe access to AI for everyone, not just the IT folks. Second, conscious cognitive task division. The AI prepares the data, but the human makes the judgment call. Third, protected learning loops. You take the time you saved by using AI and you reinvest it into complex practice and mentoring. Fourth, contestable AI. You have to make it psychologically safe for an employee to say, hey, this AI output is wrong. And fifth, career architecture. You've got to design new roles before the old entry-level tasks totally disappear. You know, if you only take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. The single most crucial question any leader must answer is this: which cognitive activities are you consciously choosing to preserve for your human workforce? Automation is absolutely not just about what you can give away to a machine. It's about what you strategically decide to keep. Now, theory is all well and good, but let's jump to section 4, pioneers in practice, and see this in action. First up is Univé. They are a fascinating Dutch testing ground for this stuff. In their OpenAI case study, they showed a massive 97% activation rate of their enterprise licenses, and their employees have built around 1,500 custom GPTs. But honestly, the numbers aren't even the coolest part. The real story is their philosophy. They treat their employees as active builders of their own workflows, not just passive end users waiting for IT to hand them a tool. Just look at how they handle their claims department. The AI acts as this ultimate preparation amplifier. It gathers the info, it flags the anomalies. But the human explicitly retains all the context, the final judgment, and the legal liability. The machine organizes, the human decides. That is a picture-perfect example of conscious cognitive task division. And they aren't the only ones. Take BNY. They built this internal platform called ELIZA. 99% of their staff are trained on it, and 20,000 employees are out there actively building AI agents. What's crucial here is how they handle governance. Instead of using governance as a brake to stop people from doing things, it acts as a safe, controlled infrastructure for learning. Employees aren't sneaking around using public tools in the shadows. They have a totally protected environment to experiment and learn. Then we have BBVA, proving you can do this at a massive scale with over 100,000 users. BBVA is positioning AI as a direct investment in their people. In their credit risk area, they're taking the time saved from doing manual data gathering, and they are actively redistributing it. They're shifting that freed up human capital into higher level strategic analysis, like factoring ESG into risk models. They're literally upgrading the work. Now, for some wider context, companies like Rabobank and PostNL are also investing heavily in AI. Rabobank is committing up to 2 billion euros, and PostNL is targeting major cost savings. They are building incredibly strong IT foundations, which is great, but as Scheepers notes, based on what's public, we just haven't seen the same level of proof regarding true human capital renewal, like those protected learning times that we see from the pioneers. Because if efficiency isn't paired with learning, well, those short-term gains can turn into long-term human capital debt. So how do we actually do this? Let's hit our final section, number 5, action plan for the future. If you're in management, becoming capability secure means making 5 deliberate choices before you automate everything. 1, treat AI access as a core strategic working condition. 2, do a capability scan. Know exactly what skills might be lost and what you have to save. 3, take a chunk of the productivity you gained and actively reserve it for learning. 4, redesign your performance reviews. Stop just asking, what did you produce, and start asking, how did you verify the AI's output? And 5, make contradiction relevant. If an employee doubts the AI, they aren't slowing you down. They're providing vital quality control. But what if you are the professional watching this? Well, here are the 5 essential questions you need to be asking your employer to make sure your own career isn't being hollowed out. What AI tools do we actually use? Is there space for me to build my own use cases? Which human decisions are we consciously protecting? As the basic tasks disappear, what new learning paths are replacing them? And lastly, is it safe for me to openly doubt the AI? Because the best employers won't just hand you an AI tool. They'll give you the space to master it without outsourcing your own brain. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. In a labor market that is changing this fast, true security isn't about protecting your current job title. It's about protecting your capability to do valuable work in the future right alongside the technology. So ask yourself today, is your organization just making you AI ready, or are they making you capabilities secure? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.